right, this is Tom Salemi at OIS TV with our debut sit down with the co-chairs. We'll come up with a better name than that, but this is our opportunity to review our latest OIS at ASCRS, and it's the 13th OIS overall, and I think we're debating as to which ASCRS this was. Sixth. So good job, gentlemen. It must be nice to, you've obviously worked on it through the months, and to see it sort of come to fruition and not have it set the hotel on fire must be pretty rewarding.
We just came up with all of it last night, so we're glad it worked out.
Yeah, who says cramming doesn't work?
Yeah, we got lucky again, right?
But it started off great. I mean, the breakfast breakout sessions, this is the second time we've done it. What do you think that adds to the agenda, Phil?
You know, one of the things, first of all, we can have more topics and go a little deeper than we can if we go staccato through the presentation. And the other thing we've noticed is that we can get more of the leading docs to have their voice and their impact as well, so more key opinion leaders, so it's a nice mix.
Mm-hmm. And gentlemen, did you get to sit on yours, and any feedback from the topics and from the attendees?
I think they were generally very well received, and we've always wrestled with whether to split the meeting into sessions or keep everyone together, and generally I think we've wanted to keep everyone together for that chemistry, and so this is a compromise that for an hour we can let people go their own way and go into specific topics, deeper dives, but generally we want everyone together as opposed to having tracks off in different parts of the hotel.
And it's also nice to have the smaller format because we have such a large audience now of 500 plus. Mm-hmm. So to break it down a little bit, at least in one segment.
Well, and it gives us that chance for direct interaction and questions and interaction with, with the audience. That one of the challenges we faced is that we haven't had a lot of, because of the size of the meeting. Unfortunately, over 500 attendees this year.
Good problem to have.
A good problem to have.
Yeah.
Is we've worked as planners and chairs for quite a number of times trying to think about how to interact more intimately with the audience, but it's so big we can't do it in the general session very well. And I think the breakfast sessions give a nice opportunity there.
And Emmett, it sort of speaks to the strength of the OIS format that you were talking about earlier. It brings everyone together, it kind of puts everyone on a level playing field. Do you see that being an extension of that?
I think, well, the question is, why does everyone want to be together? I think it's just a natural chemistry. It's a natural union of the entrepreneur and the investor and the industrial or strategic partner. And it's a place where everyone comes together, has this common goal of fostering innovation and feels safe to do it. It's not the academic who walks into industry and feels like they're out of place, or vice versa, or the industry person who feels like they're on the dark side, or the venture capitalist who's on the dark side in academics. Here, everyone is committed absolutely to that innovation. They come together and they feel great. And the other part of this, which also speaks to the breakfast, is just how much we have to cover and how active the space is. We're now going to have a third meeting, and they're all very, very popular because we have so much to cover. We could never even begin to touch most of what we'd like to touch if we just had the one day.
And you worked hard to keep it fresh. Gil, you brought a new element to the agenda, the WTF, and we can debate what it stands for, but overall we're hearing
luckily we came up with something that was legitimate, right?
That's
we
right.
could say out loud, what's the future? Yeah. What was fun for me is being involved is when you came up with that idea, and I loved it, but I thought, okay, now what's the signal that's gonna send? And then somebody came up with what's the future?
That's good.
Sigh of relief. I thought, okay, that works.
Gil's the only actually innovative venture capitalist out here.
That's true.
Not true. Just an insomniac, so I have more time to come up with these things. But no, it was really fun to be up there because I think one of the things we've been trying to do at OIS is to get more audience interaction, and so we played with different formats, and so it was really fun being on the podium and seeing the reaction of the audience initially to their expressions on their faces with some of these WTF companies, and then the actual polling. I was very surprised by many of the answers to the questions were not what I was expecting. Yeah. So I was having a little WTF reaction up there myself that, wow. And that's one thing I think we could cultivate more is we have an incredibly rich audience of people with amazing experience, and to be able to get more input and interaction from them is something I think we'll focus on in future meetings.
And the glaucoma session that followed, I think that this is a story you've been following in OIS for years, sort of the rise of the MIG space. Emma, you made a comment earlier off camera that this really speaks to the arrival of Meg?
Yeah, so I had two senses when I was watching. So this is my 10th year in venture capital, and my partners have been doing it much longer and should add to this. But the first was that it was the first time that it crystallized for me just how impactful and important MIGS is going to be. It's going to be totally disruptive because of that risk-benefit effort triangle that Ahmed talked about. It's there's so little risk and so little effort, and you get the therapeutic benefit that it's just going to, I think it will explode. And it sounds like it's an overused term, but I think it will explode. And the other thing was, when we live day to day in the trenches of this innovation and we see how hard it is to raise money for these device companies in particular, you lose sight of the overarching arc of progress, right? And so you think, oh, devices are going away or they're not going to make it. And then you see this presentation and you understand that these device companies, which had such a hard time at points in their history, are poised to totally disrupt the space because of the perseverance. So if you persevere, it actually does come to an end game which can be quite disruptive and different. That to me, that's what I was thinking. I was like, wow, I remember trying to get into Glaukos. I didn't get into Glaukos. Thanks.
Sorry about that.
That's because we're so close. And it had delays at the FDA and issues here and there.
Yeah.
And now look at it. It's really amazing.
Well, you did get into Glaukos. I'm glad, Gil, you're in between the two of them.
Well, he's in Glaukos.
Oh, this is getting awkward.
And he's between us.
But you've seen MIGS rise as well. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, well, what I think it's part of a greater phenomenon that we're trying to amplify here, which is market development and to accelerate innovation. And a lot of, I forget my physics, but I think the first law of motion is things are either at rest or moving in a straight line, and that's not what innovation is about. Things have to be moving fast and doing left curves and so on. And so to the extent we can bring people together so they can see things that are coming over the horizon and then understand what they're about and then overcome some of their risk averseness, I think we could speed this up. It feels like this has happened a few different ways historically with OIS, with MIGS, I think with femtocataract to some extent, and other areas that we focused on. And I think that's pretty unique in ophthalmology, is to bring people together in one space where the speed of innovation and adoption could actually be increased.
Fantastic. And the day ended strongly with the Masters of the Universe panel. Jim Meza was having a good time up there, as he should. But there's been a lot of shifts on the corporate level in ophthalmology, and the panel sort of reflected that. What was your takeaway from that?
Well, a couple of things. What a privilege to have the leaders of the industry here, right? I mean, carving time out of their immensely busy schedule to come and join us at OIS, and to me, that's a signal of the impact and role that we play, and we have to take it seriously. We have to do it really well, and I think that commitment to doing things really well shows up in situations. So that's kind of a general comment. And I think that what's interesting to me about kind of the Masters panel, number one, Jim does a fabulous job. He has credibility and a sense of humor. And it becomes a conversation. It's not all scripted and so forth. And so we get, I think, more insight into each other and industry leaders than is typical overall. And I applaud the commitment that the leaders show in coming and then being willing to interact in a somewhat spontaneous way. And I think it just adds value. And I'm sitting on that panel. It's like being a moderator and seeing the audience, right? It's really informative to us. And it's very gratifying to me when I could sit at the end of the day on a panel and see the room full, everybody quiet, nobody on their cell phone. They're actually listening and engaged. To me, that's the kind of engagement that we hope for, and I think that format has worked.
You've been a CEO a couple times, Bill, and so to me, again, as I sort of watch this, I was thinking, if I were, what they may sort of find so attractive is that this is their one opportunity to directly connect with so many customers.
Yes, yeah.
And they actually see it and feel it, and that's why I think they keep coming. Not because they have to or
right.
To appear, but I think they get that direct, immediate feedback.
Yeah, good point, yeah.
Well, this is a successful end to a successful day. Anything we want to, closing comments on where OIS is headed? We've got a few exciting things happening this year. Obviously, AAO is going to be big, but
yeah, I want to say thank you to my colleagues and the team that helps put this together. And it's amazing to play a role in facilitating innovation that helps people, and that's what gets us here. And whether we're an investor or an entrepreneur, an industry leader, or a doc, that's the common thread here. And again, Emmett's idea, which was precious, and then I think with Gil and myself and Emmett and Craig and the team, we've gotten this to work pretty darn well. And shame on us if we don't take advantage and take the responsibility of moving it forward. Emmett came up with yet another idea and more work, for us. What are you thinking, Emmett?
Well, this is I think you're referring to the ASRS meeting, which we're now committed to do in August. It'll be a half-day meeting to kick off. And again, it's just that there's so much activity and innovation in retina, we can't touch on it in just the one AAO meeting, and that's not really addressed here. And so just at this meeting, I must have been either directly or indirectly 5 or 6 people who said, I'm excited about that meeting. So
super. Yeah.
I think people will go to it. We hope people will go to it. And I know we'll be there. So
we'll be there.
Excellent. Well, we thank you for your time today. Thank you for all the time you put in on the conference. And thank you for giving me an opportunity to have this platform to really delve into the fascinating area of ophthalmology. It's been a treat for me as well. So I look forward to OIS at ASRS, and I'll learn to say that correctly. And thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Very good.